So I made $27,000 from one YouTube video for my client. In this video, I'm going to walk through exactly what video we made, how we structured it, as well as how we actually, were able to get this result. Just for some proof here, as you'll see on screen, here is screenshot, right? So even in the tracking software, we can see here. So if I click on the YouTube video, $27,000 cash collected, 13 booked calls, 146 form submissions, and 506 tracking link clicks. And if you actually take what I'm showing you in this video and apply it to your channel, you can easily generate an extra 50 to 100K in new revenue in less than 6 months with your own YouTube channel. So let's jump in. As I said, proof that this is true, we can see it in our tracking software. We don't just guess with this type of stuff. We connect every single YouTube video. We can see who books a call, who clicks a link, and then as well as who, actually converts from the video. So we have the data to back this up, right? So let me walk you through like who Stemann is, what he was like before working with us, and then, what is happening right now with his channel. Stemann runs a coaching program helping people how to scale funding businesses, right? He has a 7-figure funding business. He teaches people how to grow one themselves. So, we're creating niche YouTube content around this topic. At the current state of recording this YouTube video, he has 2.4K subscribers. And each video is getting, 500 to 1,000 views per video. So before we started working with Stemann, you had minimal YouTube presence, like even less than this. So if you go back, his videos were getting like 100 views per video and he wasn't really getting any conversions. He was excited to grow on YouTube and grow his brand, but he didn't really know how to optimize it correctly. His only lead source was from his paid ads. He's still actively running paid ads, but that was the only way he was getting in new students into his program, and he was getting like 0 to 5K collected from YouTube. And after we worked with Stemann, so this is up to right now, in total he's collected around, I think it's actually more than this now, it's about 40K from YouTube, 28 of that coming from one video that I'm gonna walk you through in this video. And all the leads are getting nurtured and educated with the YouTube videos, and objections are getting pre-handled before the calls. So even, the leads that are coming in from paid ads, we've had of his setters send them the YouTube videos, and they go onto his YouTube, they search him up, and those are all getting pre-nurtured, right? What is really nice here is he's ranking #1 on YouTube for the search term, how to start a funding business. And this is where his ideal, customers are actually searching on YouTube. And he's the person they see. So, just for some proof on this, let's just do it in a different tab, how to start a funding business. Let's see what pops up. It is his video. And as you can see here, it's a 7x outlier. We've now got it up to 5K views. And every single day, this is bringing in new people that could potentially, jump into his program. For the most part, we're targeting people who are, under 10K a month. So they're typically trying to still start their funding company rather than scale it up. Now, we actually just created a free course on how to scale to 50K per month. And that video will cater towards more of the people who already have 10K a month, 20K a month and want to scale more. But for the most part, this is the video that was able to convert because most people are under 10K a month. As I said, we're now ranking in, for the keyword that we targeted when we created this video, and new people are coming in through SEO. And just to be clear, like Stemann isn't the only one we've been able to give results like this for. So, we have Kai here, who when he joined us, he was at 15K a month with YouTube. We scaled him up to 75K a month. And then we have Kira from Fortune Consulting. He closed a 13K deal in the first 7 days from YouTube. And then also guys like Dennis, who closed a 10K deal from YouTube in under 45 days when, he went about 6 months with never closing a deal from YouTube. And, throughout this video, if you want some help implementing any of this, the YouTube funnel that we use for Stemann, you want us to handle your ideation scripting so that you can book in more calls and actually make an ROI from YouTube, there'll be a link in the description, you can apply to work with us. So just some context about me here, my name is Daniel Robbins. I run a YouTube funnel agency. We do YouTube, plus we're integrating paid ads. And what we do is, we help high ticket coaches, consultants book in more qualified calls, right? So who is this presentation like actually for? It's for anyone who's running a high ticket service. Your service needs to be at least like 2K. Coaches, consultants with expertise. We don't work with beginners and people who are struggling to consistently attract qualified prospects. And if you're tired of, relying on paid ads, cold outreach, and you want predictable revenue from YouTube that most people, never really get, this video will help you. So, look, there are 2 billion users on YouTube who are actively searching for solutions. And if you can place yourselves in front of them, even a small amount, like, we're talking small numbers here, you're gonna make a pretty good ROI and, return on that time you're putting into YouTube. So who is this not for? People who have an offer under 2K, no case studies, looking for overnight success or viral fame. That's not what we do here. And you want quick money without providing any value, this isn't going to work for you. But this will help you generate a real cash generating content funnel, but you will not become famous. The problem everyone's facing on YouTube, right? Here's what I see happening with most businesses when they're trying out YouTube. They're basically just lost, right? They don't know where to start. They don't know what types of videos to post. And then they don't know how to actually convert people from these videos to actually make money. And the YouTube gurus out here have convinced everyone that you need to make videos like the 7 ways to make money online, top 5 side hustles, and this type of stuff that, Iman Ghazi created. This stuff doesn't work in 2026. You're not gonna sell your coaching program, your course with this type of content. If you're selling a high ticket service business, whether it's a coaching program, consulting company, agency, anything like that, you need to do the opposite of what these gurus are telling you to do. So, as I said, meet Stemann. Before working with us, he was in a similar situation, right? He had a great service, he had case studies, he had a good ticket price. He was getting results for his students, but struggling with actually having consistent YouTube flow. About 1,000 subscribers, posting inconsistently, no real strategy, and obviously his videos weren't converting. And this might sound familiar for some of you watching here. So originally, when we diagnosed him, the problems I identified during our first conversation, immediately allowed me to see what was wrong, right? So his content was too broad, so he wasn't targeting ready to buy prospects. There was no YouTube SEO, so the right people could not find his YouTube videos when they searched them up. There was no clear conversion path. We were getting some views in maybe, but there was no clear next step for them to actually go ahead and work with him. He was trying to appeal to everyone instead of his ideal customers, and there was not enough value up front to justify someone paying him $6,000 to invest in his coaching program. And most of these problems sound pretty obvious when you list them out, but almost everyone makes these same mistakes. So here's a strategy that we came up with for him. And this is what you can then take, if you watch through this video and apply to then help you actually get a similar result, right? So the new strategy, instead of creating random videos and hoping something would stick, I proposed something completely different. The first thing what we would do is create a comprehensive piece of content that will serve as the cornerstone of his entire YouTube strategy. And this wasn't going to be some sort of 10-minute surface level video. We would create one, advanced video that would attract people actively searching for solutions, provide so much value that they'd see him as the obvious expert to, go ahead and invest with, and then also include strategic calls to action at the right moments in those videos so that people can go ahead and actually decide to work with them and what the next step is. And then obviously you need to optimize SEO so that we can rank for that keyword that we're trying to target. So on the screen, you'll see a screenshot of the script. We really planned this out. It wasn't like something that we just put out and hope for the best. We spent a lot of time really working on this, working on how we're gonna structure it. And that's what really leads to results on YouTube. You actually have to invest a certain amount of time into your strategy. 22,000, this needs to be updated on this document to 27,000. The video we created was how to start a funding company in 2025. We've now updated this to 2026. So it's a free course YouTube video. Here's what kind of made this video special and what led to the conversions, right? And this is what you really need to take into account if you're trying to replicate this. The video is 1 hour and 7 minutes long. It's comprehensive, it's not surface level. It's a complete blueprint to everything someone needs to get started with this business model. And this generated $27,000 in actual collected revenue. As once again, we can see this is cash collected, and it's actually more than this, because some people haven't even, paid the rest of the amount to get into the program. So it's more like 35K. And it only has about 4,000, right now it has about 5,000 views. So quality over quantity when we're actually trying to attract people with the video, right? So everything we did was strategic and intentional. There was no guessing or hoping involved. So step one, what did we actually do when coming up with the strategy for this YouTube video? As I said, it's keyword research. You need to be figuring out what types of things people are actually searching for in your niche and find keywords with high search volume and low competition so that you can then reverse engineer that and create YouTube videos around it. Now, this isn't the only way to come up with video ideas, one method. This is what we used here. So, in actuality, the metrics that we saw on the keyword research weren't, insanely good, but we knew even if there's not a crazy amount for this key term and this search term, if we can still create the #1 video for this term, we're gonna bring in cash, right? So before we created any content, I spent time researching and figuring out what Steadman's ideal clients were actually searching for on YouTube. So as you can see here, this is a screenshot from the keyword research software that we use. And for this term, we can see, a reasonable amount of search volume, low competition, and overall scores are medium. It doesn't have to be super, super high. As I said, it's just about knowing that there is that search volume. The perfect thing here is that these are high intent searches. So people are in execution mode, they're not just browsing. So if you're searching a how-to video, you're looking for something actionable. You're looking for something that you can implement right now. And that means that if you can bridge the gap from knowledge to implementation, they will end up, deciding to work with you. So it's not just random viewers, a video popping up on their feed, right? And this is the foundation that, most people just skip over. and it's why their videos never get found by the right people. Now, step 2 here is the content strategy. So instead of creating a basic overview like everyone else, we decided to create something that would completely, blow people away who are looking to start a funding company, because there wasn't really any real piece of content out there like this at the moment. So what we did is we structured it as a free course, essentially giving away what most people would charge for. So massive free value triggers reciprocity. They want to give back. They want to actually help you, right? If you're giving away so much value. If free content is this good, the paid must be incredible. That's a logical assumption when they watch the video. It positions him as someone who genuinely helps, who's not just trying to sell. Obviously, we have call to actions in the video. They're quite scarce, and it demonstrates expertise better than any sales pitch because it's proof through value, right? So the psychology here is very critical. By providing, massive value up front, we triggered multiple psychological principles that made the viewers naturally want to work with them. And if you look at the comments on the YouTube video, these people are actively praising this video and saying how much value this was. That's gonna, number one, tell YouTube that, people actually like this video. It's gonna push it to more people. It's going to, help us rank in the search results. And that only happens when people are actively enjoying the video. There's a metric called viewer satisfaction. It's basically the combination of, are people commenting, are people liking, is there retention? Like, these are the things that, YouTube looks at when they're deciding, is this actually a good video? Because that's what's going to lead them to actually, pushing this to new people, right? Step 3, the video structure. So we structured the video almost like a complete course with multiple modules. So, we have an introduction, a hook. Then we have like module 1, which is the first part, which is understanding the actual business model. Then we have a step-by-step setup process. Then we have a module about how to actually find and close your first clients. Then like how to scale, how to fulfill, and a conclusion where we actually recap and have the call to action. And each module provided actionable information that viewers could actually implement, and we really didn't hold anything back. Because here's the thing, holding stuff back, really isn't the best strategy. Most people are realistically not going to implement what you tell them. So even if you feel like you're giving away too much, I promise you're not, because most people are still going to pay you for the implementation, right? Here's a screenshot of the script. We really mapped out exactly, what this would look like, what each section would look like in the body, right? So that we know that we are, touching on every part of the process. Step 4, strategic CTA placement. And here's where most people completely mess up. They either don't include any call to action, or they wait until the very end of the video to pitch, which at that point, most people have already left the YouTube video, right? So what we did is we placed our main call to action at the 33% mark of the YouTube video, because that's when there's a decent amount of people still watching the YouTube video and they haven't all clicked off yet, right? With a full course video, we could have even placed it even earlier. You can, put it after 5 minutes. But for regular YouTube videos, 33% mark, that's a good amount of time within the video you can put your first CTA. Here's kind of the average view duration that we were able to get to this YouTube video, 13 minutes. And this meant that people are actually watching through. This was a great signal to YouTube that, oh wait, this is actually a good video, right? So the CTA was pretty simple. It's like, hey, if you want help implementing everything I've showed you, I have a program where I help people one-on-one build their funding company. If you're interested, there's a link in the description to book a call. Nothing too crazy, nothing out of the blue. You just wanted people to know that, okay, if they like this, there is a way for them to work with you, right? So step 5 here is SEO optimization. And as I said, we optimized every single element of the video for search, because there are 2 types of video. There's a search-based video and there is a outlier-based video. When you're creating an outlier video, you are creating the video under the premise that it's not going to really be searched for that much, but it's more so something that YouTube is just going to promote. When you're creating actionable how-to videos, you're creating it under the assumption that you're trying to optimize for SEO, right? So the title is a how-to video, as I said. We have the primary keyword included, which is start funding business. We have a year for recency, so we make sure, we had this in here, and then free course for value proposition. So we included all of those elements. Then description, in the description, we have a breakdown of what's in the video with, natural keyword placements that, triggers YouTube to tell it that, what's in the YouTube video so you can rank. We have obviously relevant tags for the YouTube video. Tags aren't that, useful nowadays in 2026. Tags are not going to save you and rank you in the search results. They're an extra thing that you can always have to signal to YouTube what your video is about. And then obviously the thumbnail design. So we had a professional design with Stemann in it that really, got across and re-emphasized, what's in the video, right? The result from doing all of this is within 2 weeks, the video was ranking number 1 on YouTube for how to start a funding business. And, that's what's brought in most of the traffic for this YouTube video, which has led to the cash, right? So as I showed you before. So the results. So, we're only on, at the time of me making this document, 4.2 thousand views. If we look now, we're at, I'm pretty sure 5K views. So 5K views on this video, and it's collected $27,000, 11 calls booked. Now you may be looking at the calls booked and saying, okay, that's not a crazy amount, but remember the close rate on leads from YouTube is so high because they've watched all your content, they're warm, they are ready to work with you, they consume your content and built up those trust hours rather than a cold lead that never heard about you from paid ads. And that's why this is super valuable. So I mean, the close rate on this was about 36%. And this is for a course, not even a done for you. So that's a pretty high close rate, right? And why this approach works so well is because there are a whole bunch of psychological and strategic reasons why we were able to make this work. So as I said, search intent. People are actively looking for solutions. Value first approach. We're providing a lot of value up front. Authority positioning. Not everyone can make a full course. Not everyone has the ability to talk for 60 minutes about a certain topic and actually keep it super valuable. So that positions him as an authority. Then pre-qualification. Only serious people will watch a 67-minute training video, and these are the people that we actually want to work with. And then objection handling. By the time someone's finished the YouTube video, most of their objections have been addressed, and that's why once they come to the sales call, they're ready to buy. It's more like an order taking call rather than having to now convince them why you're the best option to go for this. And the beautiful thing here is that you can literally copy this whole approach. It's completely replicable. This is exactly what we do for our clients. So we take this approach and we implement this YouTube funnel and this strategy for everyone that works with us. Here's exactly how you can actually adapt it for your own business. Number one, you need to identify your core keyword, like what your ideal client's actually searching for. Step two, create your free course. This is going to be your comprehensive free training. This is going to be your YouTube VSL. This is what's going to lead to most of your conversions, right? Step three, optimize for search. So you have to be optimizing based on SEO so that you can actually rank in the results. So you have to be doing your SEO optimization, otherwise, it's not going to work. Strategic CTA placement. Make sure that you have a strategic CTA around the 30% mark in the video, and then drive all traffic to this video from your other videos. So, through end screens, you want to push them there. Through having it, as your intro video on your channel, you want to have that. You basically want to get as many people to that video as possible. So if you look here, there are a whole bunch of people already, doing this themselves who have done it. And, this strategy simply works. It's why we implement it for our clients. And it's why, this is what you need to be doing in 2026. Next steps, you now have the complete blueprint of how we actually generated $27,000 for Stemann from a single YouTube video. But all of this is pretty much useful if you're not going to implement it. So you kind of have a few options. Option one, you can do all of this yourself. You can spend 10 to 15 hours per week, 6 to 12 months to see results. If you're a business owner, I'm pretty sure you value your time and spending time figuring out how to do YouTube, how to do the algorithm, how to actually script out the videos, come up with good ideas. It's a lot of time that you could be using on other things. Option two is hire and train a team. If you try hire a whole bunch of individual people, a YouTube strategist, a good editor, thumbnail designer, someone for SEO, it's about 7 roles, and you're gonna spend a lot of money, and training them is going to be a nightmare, right? People are gonna leave, and it's probably not the best strategy. Or option two, work with proven experts who actually do this for a living and have a full team ready to go and are actually able to get you results within the first 60 days rather than you waiting 6 to 12 months to actually get an ROI on YouTube. So if you want to do that option 3 and you want to get similar results like Stemann has got, there'll be a link in the description. You can click and book a call, and we'll see if you qualify to work with us for us to handle your full funnel so that you can start booking in calls and scale to 50, 100K plus per month from YouTube. Hopefully you got some value from this video. Check out the video on screen here. It'll be a full training on how we actually implement this funnel for our clients even further. So yeah, cheers.